Hello, everybody. Long time no see. It's time for. We'll make this a one man's opinion. Today, we're going to be doing something a little different. I'm going to give you some shows that I recommend that you might not have heard of. Now, all these shows are fairly old. So, let's sit back and talk about a few of them, and I'll even tell you where you can find them. And all these shows I've at least watched a little bit of. I mean, I haven't finished all of them except, depending on how I do it, maybe one or two. But I can say that all of them are definitely worth watching, and my advice would be, if they sound interesting, give them a chance. You might enjoy them. You can always watch one, and I'll tell you where to find them, like I said. So, anyway, let's begin. We're actually going to do what? Now, this might be like 7 or 8 shows here, except we're going to cheat a little bit here already. We're going to break our own rules. We're going to do a free for one special of the recently tragically passed away Bob Newhart, great legend, great comedic legend. Seems like a really cool dude from all accounts. He made several sitcoms throughout the years, from 1971 to 1992 essentially, and they all had various different names that were a play on his name. So you have the Bob Newhart Show, which is the first thing that I was just watching this a few minutes ago, no less. Now this one is harder to find. You can't really find it on a streaming service for free. You know, you'd have to pay, like you go to Amazon, order it by episodes. But what I would do, if you have the Catchy Comedy channel, they play it weekly, 11 o'clock at night. So you can set your DVR there. Now, if you don't have that, I don't know what to tell you, unfortunately. You probably can't watch it. But that's okay, because we also have Newhart, the show that followed Bob Newhart about Newhart, I believe, Bob Newhart ended like in 78. This came out in 81, and it basically lasted for the entirety of the 80s. Now Bob Newhart is where he's a psychiatrist, and he has like kind of kooky patients and whatnot. And Bob Newhart, if you didn't know, kind of famous for kind of a deadpan, laid back style. Now, if anybody knows about deadpan, it's deadpan. So it's really funny, like kind of if you like dry kind of humor, it fits well. And Newhart was the one where he is the guy who's he's running an inn in New England, and kind of has kooky guests and whatnot. Now that's all on Amazon Prime. You can watch the entire show completely for free, no charge. And then we move on to the show that's the hardest to find, and also the shortest of the shows that Bob Newhart made, and that's Bob. And this is the one that might be the most relatable because he's playing a comic book artist whose comic book character has a resurgence in the 90s and gets like brought back to life, so to speak. A character called Mad Dog. And this show is just called Bob. Kind of makes me like sad we didn't get like a show, a show in the 90s, or no, a show in the 2000s that was like called something like either his middle name or something like Robert or something, or like the Bob Show. I don't know. It's a little bit funny, but this was from '92. It only got 2 seasons, and currently, if you don't want to pay, the only place to find it is on YouTube. Just search Bob 1992. Now, I would recommend all three, but if you just want to kind of check out one, I would suggest Bob, even though it's the one that hardest to find because but it's up there. And so number 2, we're gonna go with a dear favorite of mine. Whoa, because I have it right over here, and that's Twin Peaks. This show is great. This is switching tides here. This show from the early 90s. This is not a comedy, although there are many comedic moments to the point that you could be thinking it is a comedy. It is a drama, fantasy, supernatural-esque thriller. It very much predates X-Files and Lost and tons of other shows that kind of influenced off it, that kind of fed off the well that it laid down. So the foundation, if you will. In Twin Peaks, it basically starts out with a teenage girl is murdered in a town, and then basically the entire town, which seems to be on the surface this nice, sleepy town in Washington, actually is a saucer full of secrets, and all the people have nefarious motives and are quite sinister. And there's also that leads to an FBI agent named Agent Cooper, one of the greatest characters in television history, in my opinion, coming to this town and essentially both getting absorbed by the people there and the culture, and also himself revealing that he has these otherworldly kind of connections that itself will tie into the town. And I can't go into too many spoilers, but if you watch Twin Peaks, I will say this is the show I watched the most of, I think, on this list. Possibly, no, there's another one here, but this is one of the ones. Excuse me. I watched the most of, and I watched the original Twin Peaks run. There's a movie after the first 2 seasons called Twin Peaks Firewalk with Me, and there's Twin Peaks The Return. All tied together, but all kind of drastically different. Now, it is a bit hard to watch because the first episode of Twin Peaks is 2 hours long. Yeah, it's a 2 hour long. It's basically a movie. Essentially, the first episode it's a pilot. Now, I was just watching that. If it interests you, definitely keep going. I think it's a great show. Season 2 is much maligned for a lot of reasons I won't get into. But I would say if it interests you, I would say watch at least the entire first 2 seasons. And if you like that, you can keep going. And I'll tell you where to watch them. Twin Peaks, the original Twin Peaks, entire show, first 2 seasons are on Paramount Plus. The Firewalk with Me is on HBO Max, and unfortunately, I don't know where Twin Peaks: The Return is, unless you have Showtime. I have Showtime on my cable. If you have like a Showtime, I think subscription, you can watch it anywhere that has Showtime. So Twin Peaks: The Return should be able to do like on demand wise. Probably, I think you get like Showtime streamers. So that would be the hardest one to watch, kind of similar to the whole Bob Newhart scenario there. But if you just want to watch the original Twin Peaks, you could perfectly do that. And the way the original Twin Peaks ends, it's a cliffhanger, but it ends in a way that could theoretically be like the end of the series. It'll leave you wanting more, but at the same time, it does give you some resolutions. And you can stop there. I would say just like check out episode 1. If you like it, keep going. And hopefully, it'll lead you someplace both mysterious, wondrous, and strange. Strange and wondrous. Lead us someplace strange and wondrous with it. Alright, now we're going to talk about a blast from the past. Well, another blast from the past. That being Street Sharks. Street Sharks is a cartoon from 1995, and it ran for 3 seasons. And essentially, I might just find a picture here and show you what I'm talking about. This can be found on Peacock and Tubi, the entire shows. Tubi is free, but you get ads, so if you don't want ads and you have Peacock, watch it there. But let's look up some Street Sharks here. This was something that young Deadpan loved a whole lot. This was like my jam. Because like I love the Turtles, and I grew up on the Turtles, 94, 97 rather. You got the Street Sharks. These are brothers that have been mutated to be sharks and they fight evil. Basically about as close to a clone of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as you could get. And it's really fun though. They have good music. Their theme song, it sounds like a song I can't remember, but it's like a kind of rock song that sounds familiar. And famously, a little weird bit of history here. They originally, when the show was created, they had toys. They were promoting them at a toy fair, and the guy showing the toys and talking about the show coming up that fall was a very young, still with pretty decent, pretty like full head of hair. Not quite full head of hair, but a short head of hair. Vin Diesel. And if you go online, you can find the video, usually circulating on Twitter, I think on YouTube. But Street Sharks, definitely would say watch it. I haven't watched it fully in decades, but I did sit back and I watched the season, like the first 3 episodes, which originally was like the movie that set up the show, but they split into parts. And I'm gonna continue it soon here, but definitely for what I remember it being a good show, and for what I've seen so far, it's really fun, just good action, good stuff. And if it sounds interesting to you, go for it. Yeah, it's a fun little cartoon, and I don't think it's very long here. That's another thing. So far, of all the shows I've listed here, like I think Bob Newhart show is like the longest show, but most of these are fairly short so far, but we're going to change that pretty soon here. How do we get now? Free? We're at free? Alright. Now, a show that you might have heard of, probably the most likely, and I think this is the most recent one. Well, Twin Peaks, no, this ain't the most recent because I have 2 other ones here that are recent. One is 03, and Twin Peaks: The Return, I think it was 2017. But, know that for a minute. This is a show that is only available on Hulu for as I can find to watch, and a show that I grew up on a lot. I watched all the time when I was a tween and up into my early teens, and I loved it a lot. That's Malcolm in the Middle. In my opinion, one of the greatest sitcoms ever made. This show that first introduced Bryan Cranston to the world in a lot of ways. The show that this is a really funny family sitcom that's really outlandish and sometimes feels like a living cartoon with the way to do things, but it's also very relatable, which is a very strange trick to pull off, along with the fact too that usually every episode would have like 3 different plot lines going on, where you have like, oh, Francis is in Alaska and he's dealing with Lavernia here, acting all crazy and shit. And but meanwhile, Malcolm's got to deal with the fact that Reese is getting in trouble at school and he's got to help him. But meanwhile, Hal is dealing with the fact that he's got some problem at work. And like they work these together. sometimes 4 plots. Like, it was unreal. It had a lot of great guest stars too. It's, in my opinion, a really funny show that you can put on an episode almost any time and like have a good time. It's great stuff. And funny ass show. I still think it holds up great. I've seen this entire show. This is the one I've seen the entirety of, along with the Twin Peaks so far. So we're at a standstill of middle. And tragically, the show's never been fully released on DVD because they use a ton of music there, and the music's all intact on Hulu. But I guess, paying that money rights, paying the music rights, I've literally added on Twitter to Disney, who owns Fox, who owns Malcolm in the Middle, that if you make a full Blu-ray or DVD box set of Malcolm in the Middle, I will buy that. Like, with her, I think I put it with all the music intact. So, don't know if they will. Who knows? But I'm trying. I don't know how successful it'll be, but there's that. What are we at 4 now? I'm so lost right now. Like, literally. Oh, number 5 is a show that I've only watched a little bit of, but I've heard so much about. Oh, also Malcolm in the Middle. I would point out too, if you want to know more about Malcolm in the Middle, if you watch it and you kind of want a little more content, aside from going to the subreddit for Malcolm in the Middle or Malcolm in the Middle, check out A Real Piece of Sitcom, which formerly was the Malcolm in the Middle podcast, but now is a podcast that covers different sitcom episodes with different kind of themes. Like right now they're doing the World Cup of sitcoms, where they look at a show that's either from US or UK and they kind of remade the show their own way. Think like The Office and Ghosts, stuff like that. And then deciding which is better, And they do an episode here and there. Because of them, I watched Roseanne. I never planned on watching Roseanne my entire life. They got me to watch Roseanne with even a 3-hour video of Jose on Twitter. Jose on YouTube. I'm all messed up, man. I'm too drunk already. Jose on YouTube, a YouTube video I watched while drunk. And I liked it. I still didn't get to watch it, but hearing them talk about it. And so they have you can go and listen to the entire back catalog of them reviewing and talking about every Malcolm in the Middle episode, giving it awards, talking about the plot lines. Just great stuff. And I don't think enough people talk about that podcast. Also, their stuff right now is great. The stuff with the sitcom stuff I really enjoy a lot. Also got me to watch Ghost UK and US, at least a few episodes. And some other, and I think a few other shows I kind of checked out. I was watching Bob Newhart before they started the Newhart series. That's how I kind of found out about Bob, the Newhart show, that show Bob. I knew about it, but I wasn't that aware of what it was. And they kind of talked about it. So, this is a little fun little side there. Now 5 is a show that is not as known. I feel like 50-50. Because I just mentioned Malcolm. I feel like that's still pretty well known to the most part. But this one is if you know The Simpsons and you know John Lovitz, you probably know the show. That's The Critic. I'm going to have to look when this show came out, because I know it was the early 90s. Now, The Critic, I know, had 2 seasons. Not the Nostalgia Critic. Let's get that straight right now. So The Critic had 2 seasons, started in 94. This is the show with John Lovitz. You probably recognize his character if you watched The Simpsons in the 90s. And, hold on just one minute. Anyway, so this is a show that was made by, who made this one? I know it was Simpsons showrunners to help create this. So this is the show that, Al Jean and Mike Reiss. Created by Al Jean and Mike Reiss, who are notoriously showrunners in Simpsons, a long time. I think Al Jean has a lot to do with producing the show and stuff, if I remember correctly. And it's really funny. It's a fun little 90s head trip. It's full of movie parodies. First of all, like I said, if you watch The Simpsons in the 90s, you're probably familiar with the episode. One of the classic episodes of I can't remember the name, but the one where A Star Is Burns, where they do the Springfield Film Festival, and Jay Sherman, character from The Critic, actually appears as a guest star on the show. And I think around the time The Critic had just started. And I would suggest, this entire show is on Tubi. Check it out. It's really funny. Check it out. You don't have to check out the entire show, obviously. Check out, if you like one episode, you might like another. Who knows? But yeah. Apparently it had 3 seasons, so I stand corrected. I'm just checking to make sure it's on Tubi. So I found out it's on Tubi. Because one time I thought recently I didn't see it. What are you at now, 5? Yeah, it's still here. Alright, let's go. Let's fucking go. And then, so we're now at the 5th show. What's gonna be the 6th show? Well, I gotta go to my little shelf here. Give me 1 sec. Whoa, I'm gonna spill my beer. And this is a show I actually have which is the Brak Show. Brak 2024. He's the only candidate I trust. Yeah, this is a Brak, a character from Space Ghost, the original Space Ghost Coast to Coast, Cartoon Planet. Basically, one of these shows that I think it's one of the 6 shows that Adult Swim was founded on. The show didn't last long, unfortunately. It only had 3 seasons. They're all available currently on Max, which the way they remove content left and right might as well be called minimum. My PFP on Max currently is Brak, by the way, and this show is just really funny. Because it's Adult Swim, it's notoriously they have short episodes, which is a common practice on Adult Swim. They're like 15 minutes. So I watched this entire show. About a decade ago, I was in the hospital, pretty bad off. I had some gallstones. I didn't know then, but I was feeling sick for a while. Went to the hospital and they took the gallstones out. And I was in a bad way, and then I had kind of feeling down, like it felt good to get rid of gallstones, but that was the time that Adult Swim was playing Brak Show, because they don't play it much. Cartoon Network just kind of, after the show ended, didn't really play it. And it was nice, it kind of made me feel better, seeing that. So that's the kind of little cool connection. Every time I've seen the Brak Show in my life, I've always laughed and loved it. It's a fun little nostalgia trip for me. It takes me back, when I was younger, when Adult Swim was fresh and new, stuff like that, and I just think it's really fun. It's got it's a weird show because you get sometimes you get kind of dad jokes, kind of silly puns with Brak, especially he sings goofy songs about food. But then you get stuff like dirty jokes from his dad, and his Zorak being evil. It's a very eclectic mix of stuff. They got a character called Thundercleese who's their neighbor. It's kind of a sitcom parody because in the season 1 they had the gag that every episode would have a title like an old sitcom, like The Brak's Alive, Give Me a Brak. I'm trying to remember there's more. Should have had Everybody Loves Brak. Everybody hates Brak, but would have been funny. But this is from it was 2003 to 2005. Great show, and I will say the entire show's fun. We're watching. If you want to continue your journey on YouTube, you can watch I think it's the 2005 Adult Swim New Year special, which is the last episode of the Brak Show they showed. But they show these little segments in between. It was for New Year's 2005. And they had Brak at a party with some of the other characters from the Brak Show interacting, and then find out the show was canceled. It's really funny. Fun stuff. And we are now going to go to the 7th and final thing on this list. And since I've told you about a lot of shows now. Oh, no, actually, we have 8. We're going to just cheat and do 8 because I forgot one here. This is going to be the one that's hardest to watch because you have to get an app called Pluto, which is an app that I don't like very much. It has all kinds of issues and bugs. It's a free app you can get, which is good. It's free because this shit ain't worth paying for. It's like Tubi on crack. But especially it's like Pluto. It's worth watching it just to see Becker. Now, what is Becker? Becker is a show that had Tony Danza, not Tony Danza. I was watching his Puzzle. Never mind that. Sorry, Ted Danson's what I meant to say. Ooh boy, man, my brain is just. He'd get my bearings straight. So this is a show that is from 98, had 6 seasons, so lasted to about 2003. It's about this doctor who's kind of a misanthropic, and he goes to this coffee shop and talks to the waitress there and some other people that are his friends, and he also goes to his practice, and it's a really funny, entertaining show. That's from 98, 2004. Just really good stuff all around, really good jokes, and Becker is a fun character because he can be he has a pain in the ass, but he's entertaining, There it is, Becker. And also, you will notice if you look here, I really like the character of Bob here too, who talks in third person. So there's the character right here. That's Bob. You'll notice here, this is no, it's here. We have Shawnee Smith. Shawnee Smith was in this show, and this is the show she was doing right before she got in the Saw movies as Amanda Young. So that's pretty cool because I always like Shawnee Smith. She's great in The Stand too, by the way, the original Stand. Have you ever seen that? Great stuff. I think that's on Paramount Plus. Throw in extra bonus. We still got one more show, but anyway, this show, it sucks having to use Pluto, but if you gotta use Pluto, just check out a few episodes. I really like it. My friend Santino also recommended it to me, but I was kind of watching some episodes before that. But it's a really funny show. There are some channels you can find that play it. Sometimes I think there's one called Laugh Network plays it. If you have that channel. But yeah, and the last one here is we're going for the oldest possible thing here, and the longest one here, even more than Twin Peaks. Probably the longest show, even not if you combine the Newhart shows, but all Newhart series, this is longer than all of them, and that's Columbo. Now you probably heard of Columbo. He's a detective, He's a detective who solves cases, and this is a weird show because it's classified as a TV show, but they're all movies, and they're like movie of the weeks back in the day. You get something to drink? Sponsor me, Mike's Hard Lemonade. I'll sell you good lemonade. But movie of the week type stuff, and the premise was like they would show the murder and the murderer in the beginning, and then you see Columbo like figure it out, and he had the great line to say like, "Oh yeah, and another thing, like, oh, you know what's I find strange? Like he just had this cool way of detecting things, and I really think it's entertaining stuff. It's good." And the best thing about Columbo is similar to Street Sharks, you can find it on Peacock or Tubi in full. Now I will warn you, the episodes are quite long. Because they're movies. Like the first few are like an hour and like 90 minutes straight. Then you, because those are the original pilots, then you get kind of like for a while they're like an hour 16. So you're basically looking at like not too much longer than like an episode of The Boys or something. You know, it's not super long. Or like maybe like a Doctor Who Christmas special link, something like that. It's not super long, but just strap yourself in. And I would say just try to watch one, see how you feel. This show. This is crazy because it was like from 1971 to 2003 it was on kind of not exactly like it was not on the full time. It was like 71 to 78, then they took a break, then 89, and then they took a break again, kind of another 90, and then like they took a break, and then like 93, 97, 2003. But it's just wild to think that this started in 71. At the very least, they were still making some no free, and that's kind of cool. And Peter Falk is great as Columbo in my opinion. And I really like the music, the scores is also really good if I want to see. But I've only seen I think a handful of these so far, but I'm gonna continue to watch more, and I'm really enjoying it. And yeah, like I said, Peacock you can watch it free. The Peacock you can watch it without commercials. But Tubi you can watch it completely. Tubi's completely free, but you got to deal with commercials. And all of them have them there. So. Anyways, that's 7 or 8, and probably more like 12 different shows I listed here if we count like all the shows. 7 or 8 shows that you might have heard of and you might enjoy. Give them a chance. Who knows? And like, I know there's a lot of stuff to watch today. There's new stuff coming out every time. But maybe you want to watch something old or something maybe like some of these cases pretty short shows. Maybe you just want to kind of try to see if you get a new obsession. I don't know, but definitely think they're all worth checking out, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. One man's opinion. And thank you for watching. Have a great day.